All right. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to your favorite podcast, Coffee Weekly. And today we'll be joined by me, Himanshu. I'm from Mumbai, India.
Woo!
And yeah, we'll have a little chat about moving. Actually, I moved just last month from Stockholm to India, and we thought it's a good topic, but it'll be about moving countries or moving cities or moving colonies. I don't know. Depends on, yeah, depends on our experiences. And I'm joined by your friendly neighborhood hosts, Henrik.
Hi, it's a pleasure to have you here today.
Hello, I'm Sheldon,
Sheldon?
and yeah,
It's every time the same.
yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
fun to have this quirk introduction, and finally we are
And
here with
Otto as well.
Rocking his
That's us,
sunglasses, as I saw
Yes.
last time.
Always a different one. So you're talking about moving. I mean, maybe like a very quick like overview. Does everyone know how often they move by chance? I think that's a good estimate of like how involved we are into the topic or not. I can start. I think I moved 9 times so far, or it must have been 10 during last year, but around that number.
So much.
Yeah, too much. Oh my goodness, I don't want to move, but I'm gonna move probably soon again. So I've moved every single year since the last 5, 6 years or something, and then nothing for a while, but then my child got a lot. Or you guys?
I think I had two big moves in my life. The first one inside of the country, and the other one abroad.
Yeah, for me, 3 or 4 times, but just inside Germany, to different cities.
For
And
me,
Himanshu, how about you?
yeah, within India, I think I've moved 3 or 4 times, and then I moved 2 times, one in Japan and one in Sweden. So yeah, both cities as well as countries.
Funnily enough, I personally found moving countries a lot easier than I found moving cities, because when you move a country, you really think about what you're going to take with you or not. So, for example, when I was moving from Germany to Ireland, in Dublin, where I'm in Sheldon, I just brought one big suitcase and a small suitcase. So just like a normal travel equipment. And I didn't bring anything. So basically you arrive and you have your suitcase and you can carry it with your own hands and you're done. But then in Germany, I was moving, for example, when I was moving, when I studied in Koblenz, and then I moved together with my girlfriend in Cologne when we moved there. So basically, both of us, we had all our own shit in our own apartments, and then we moved together into one big apartment. We put everything together, and we rented like this big truck or something, and I think we drove 3, 4, or maybe even 5 times. I mean, it was a big apartment, but it was so much stuff. And I mean, it's kind of nice because you arrive there and it was like an unfurnished apartment, which I do prefer actually. But then you arrive and it's like, completely empty. It's like you say something and like echoes and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But then you keep filling up the stuff and then it takes one day and then the next days you kind of try to readjust a bit. It takes like, I don't know, 5 days, but then you're kind of in a state where you can live in it. Just when we didn't have a kitchen, so that was a bit. We made just put a table there, and made it look like a kitchen. Just that there was no running water, so that was a bit shitty in the beginning. But then we actually built our own kitchen. But it's funny because the distance is further. The all the things you have to think about is further. But subjectively, I found it quite easy to move countries. Then when I moved from Ireland to Sweden, it was the same. I packed a suitcase. Okay. That's not entirely true. I've been lying. Sorry. This is another story. Okay, I will just go with it now. So when I was moving from Ireland to Sweden, I was really thinking like, should I bring stuff? I'm like, I don't know. There was only one thing I was caring about, which was like a painting of a park in Dublin, which really reminded me of my time in Dublin as well. And I was like, I don't want to take in the airplane. I don't want to just like do like a logistics thing just for one painting. So I was like, come fuck this shit. I'm gonna take the painting and some furniture and some whatever stuff. So I hired this moving company. They put all my stuff, and then I arrived there, and I was like, oh, my stuff's gonna come in 2 weeks. And I wait for 2 weeks, and it doesn't come. And I'm like, okay, there, I don't know. Maybe it takes 3 weeks, and it doesn't come. And I sent them like an email, hey, how you doing? What's my stuff? They're like, oh yeah, sorry, it just takes a bit longer. So someone's on vacation. Oh, cool. So wait like 5 weeks and 6 weeks, and now it's there. And I'm like, okay. So basically, they told me it's lost. I'm like, okay. So I just travel with my suitcase again. I think it's a good thing. And then half a year later or something, I assume it's just lost, insurance, blah, blah. And then I get a phone call from a random person like, hello, this is Johan Olstotter or something, some guy from Oslo in his car dealership from Ford. I'm like, why do I get a spam call? I don't want to buy a car. Like, I have this delivery with your name on it. I'm like, yeah, what?
Finally, about time.
Yeah, it took another 3 months to get my stuff back because the company refused to pay income tax, to import from outside of the EU, which Norway is, back into Sweden. But I think 9 months later, I got my stuff. So,
wow.
Yeah, I can recommend to not bring as much as possible. So.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that very interesting topic because, while you were speaking, I was thinking back, and I actually moved a couple of more times, like in between houses on the same city. So when I moved inside Brazil, where I was born, I was moving cities, and it was complex. And then moving houses is, as you said, like you want to carry everything. And I personally don't like to throw things away. So every time that I have a move, I panic a little bit, like what I'm gonna do with all of this stuff. I don't want to carry them. I don't have anyone to sell or anyone to give this away. So what do I do with this stuff, with this amount of stuff? And sometimes we have to throw it away, and I don't really like it because like it could have gone to somebody else as a good use, but it is what it is. And then when I moved abroad as well, like I literally had to give away or throw away everything that I have because I had to move with just a suitcase, like Otto mentioned when he was moving to Dublin, because I didn't want to bring anything as a luggage, as a baggage. I think baggage, like this word, can have a very broad semantic meaning. If you watched How I Met Your Mother, there's an episode just about baggage with another meaning. But anyway, it's really hard to carry on stuff with you. To have similar experiences like this, Himanshu?
Yeah, absolutely. I just sold. I was trying to sell things. Trying to sell my bed, which I think was my most expensive piece of furniture. And it was not selling. And I kept reducing the prices, and then it came like the last week, and I was like, screw it, 0 crowns, take it, I don't care. Wow. And then within 4 minutes, someone reached out like, hey, I'm happy to pick it up, and it was gone just the same day. So it's crazy. But I finally was relieved because I don't have to pay my apartment owner a charge because I left some stuff. I think one interesting experience that I've had was this is the only move which I've had a control on. For all the moves, I had like no option kind of. So it's interesting that for education, like there's one hub or 2 hubs in India. If you belong to North India, you go to this place in Rajasthan where there's like millions of students, the city just of students who prepare for engineering colleges. And then there's like out of
How is it
5,
called? What's the name?
The state is Rajasthan. It's like the desert state, and the city is called Kota, Kota. So there was like I had no idea where I was going. It's a very hot place as well, 50 degrees Celsius. It can get to that because it's in the middle of the desert. And then I moved for college, and you don't get to choose college. You get to write the exam, and whatever the marks or the rank you get, like you're decided a college based on that. And then you get your first job, but how much control you have over your first job. So yeah, cool. I'm going to Japan. It works with me. And then Spotify, hey, we work in Stockholm, so you have to come to Stockholm. And cool, I've heard of the name. I've heard of Zlatan. So he comes from Sweden. And I'm like, cool, it must be a good place. So finally, I've got to say that, hey, I want to live in this city in India. I want to move. So until now, I have just been moved by people. Just carry along.
Did you like it though? Was it a good experience, or would you have like more choice?
It was a
on
great
your own?
experience. I got to like see so much of nature. I think I really enjoyed the summers in Sweden. I also enjoyed the first winter because I'd never seen snow. So looking out from the big window and seeing snow fall down, it was dreamy.
Being
The only
warm
one thing,
inside.
yes, it was warm inside. The only thing which I missed was family. And if I had like someone to live with, I think I would have lived for longer. But I think I got homesick really quick. I just wanted to be close to family. So that's why I moved.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can relate to that. That's actually a thought I also have. Like we are now in an age where we shine, like we are healthy and fit and living our lives, but our parents are more going towards seniority. They're getting older, their life is getting slower. Maybe they want some grandchildren someday, or they will have some grandchildren and they maybe also want to see it. So for our parents, it's a very different life, like with the kids moving away. I don't know like how many sisters and brothers you have and who else lives there. But being close to the family is also a thought that I have. But right now I don't prioritize it above my own, like, let's say, well-being or something. Maybe, who knows, at another point of life. What I also wanted to add, like to pick up where the other guys stopped, it's like moving is always a good time to get rid of things that you don't need, because like every time you move, you have to touch everything you own literally and decide, okay, am I gonna keep it or does it go away in some way? And if you're moving a lot, like this procedure usually gets super clean because you don't get that much new stuff in 1 year or something like that. At least it's like that for me. I don't know about you guys, how much you buy in 1 year. But yeah, it's always a good time to get your inventory more clean. And what's also funny, like sometimes I've been moving here like since more than 1 year and I didn't unpack some stuff until today. So yeah, that also shows how important some things are in life. Yeah, I don't know, like Himanshu, how was it for you? How did you bring your baggage and how much did you take back to India?
Yeah, I was actually confused. Like, it's very hard to decide the cost of shipping versus actually selling it if it's going to be sold. And shipping with an airplane is very costly. Ultimately, I decided to just take extra luggage. So I had like 70 kgs of luggage, and it basically costed me another airplane ticket, like one more person. But I was hoping like there would be like a ship, like 30 days ship via the ocean. But none of them like actually agreed to take my stuff because you have to be a business client so that they can take your stuff. So I found out that you can, as a private customer, just ask like, hey, can I put this box on your ship and can I get it in Mumbai? No, that's not happening. So yeah, you need to be a business customer.
Maybe that's the point for a startup. That's exactly where the big startup stories start.
I mean, I was working with this little company that was trying to ship my stuff. I mean, you see how it went. No, but Hendrik, you mentioned something about, I mean, moving being a point in time where it's good to think about what are you going to keep or not. And I mean, there's not fun, but I mean, there's a concept where I met many people that are so-called love refugees, which means that people move to a certain place in a relationship or for someone, and then they stayed in the country after they broke up, which I, in some ways, also relate to. So when I think back, I mean, also 2 times when I moved, not countries, but when I moved, I was also at the point where I ended a relationship. So it was literally, you come to a new country, like, first of all, it's probably a new language, it's a new city. You probably also have a new job. And since you maybe don't have a relationship anymore, it's like a whole new social life. It's new friend circle. It's like everything is new. So you arrive and you're like, wow, what's going on? Which can be also a bit overwhelming. But it is interesting that, I mean, yeah, by taking things with you, like, I mean, let it be, I mean, relationship's not a thing, but by a concept, you bring some feeling of home with you, or feeling of like how it was before. And it can also be both, like maybe you take your instruments or you take your paintings. I mean, yeah, this painting kind of reminds me a tiny little bit of like, oh, I was there in Dublin, was hanging there in my apartment. But I have the feeling the less you take, the more you give yourself the option to get new stuff, or like to experience new stuff. I mean, let's say like the hypothetical edge case, you bring everything, like, or you rebuild your home in a different country. I'm pretty sure there's been at least one person in this country, in this world, who has done that. But it might be comfortable. You might be really like, oh, nice, I know where my fridge is. Maybe there's some stuff even the fridge was before, you know. But what you're missing out on is that every place, even when it's just different cities in the same country, has different things to offer, different impressions, different people, different food, different, I don't know, furniture, like different clothes or anything. And if you bring less, you can adapt more to, like, or you can see more and find more. I think that's a good thing. So
I hope that you're buying all your stuff from other people, so it's used already, so you have a low environmental impact on that. But otherwise, I agree on that, actually. Like, it's good, like, to get yourself room for change.
Yeah, I agree as I agree as well. And when I moved to Ireland, I moved with a gym bag, like the big one, like bigger like this. It doesn't fit in the camera, but anyway, it's a big gym bag, and I put only like the clothes that I thought that would be using here, and literally everything else that I had, I either sold or gave it away. And when I arrived here, I lived for a few months on one apartment, and when I moved to the other apartment, I already had to rent a car to move my stuff. And then I lived in that apartment for 3 and something years, and now when I moved to this house where I'm living now, I had to rent a car, make 2 or 3 trips, and rent a van to bring the rest of the stuff. So yeah, you can accumulate a lot of stuff along the years.
One thought that I also had, my parents, they were just moving 2 times in their life. I think then when they were a couple in their 20s, they moved to one apartment. And from that apartment, they moved to the house where they still live. And like, I already moved more than them, and I don't even have half their age. And I think it's because of our lifestyle. The world around changed us. It's a lot more fast-paced. People are a lot more globalized. Like Himanshu told, he had a job in Japan, he had a job in Sweden. Otto and you have both been to Ireland. How was it for your parents? Is it similar, or have your parents been moving more? Or what do you think about this, how the world changed, like in terms of dynamics moving around the globe?
For me, my parents, like, it's their first time in this city, Mumbai, and they just moved. I think just once, like for a job. When my father moved, my mom moved out of their home town, and then lived there forever. So yeah, it's very hard for them. Like, even Mumbai is very strange for them. Like, sitting in a 40-story building and getting food deliveries and people to come
Nice.
and clean your house, and like they're like, we're in a different place. And I don't know how they'll react if they go outside and see like giant Tokyo towers, which are like, I don't know, so crazy, or like Sweden or US. I think they'll definitely be overwhelmed. So I think but I don't know. What about you folks?
I mean, I just know that, I mean, my dad, I think, moved also a couple of times, and also especially a lot when we were younger, we moved a lot for work. And but I know my mom moved from Argentina, so she also moved countries, and I think also she moved a couple of times around. But in general, I would say that moving, I mean, the way I see it at least, is that it could actually be a good thing. It is like happens sometimes in your life. Of course, like if you are forced, or like if the only viable option is to move like every year and you do it for like, I don't know how many years, I don't think that might be a a good thing. But I could say in general, I think, yes, moving is hard stuff. Like it's annoying and it takes so much time, money, resources. There's always something breaking, unexpected, missing, something you didn't think about, and it's always like that. But I would say because of that, because it is so stressful and you're literally ripping apart your own place and like throwing away your comfort zone to something that you don't really know what it is. I think that's a very good experience that makes us stronger as people, because it's always going to be fine in the end. And I mean, yeah, given time and given work, you will settle in a new place. Even if you move to a place that you don't really like, you will still take the experience of like, oh, this old place was very nice. So you will always learn something. You will feel like you will see more places of the world. You will meet new people. You will maybe hear different language, hear different accents, see different monuments, see different museums or something. And I think, yeah, I don't know if I would recommend that to people, but I would say people should at least move every now and then just to get some new impressions.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on this?
I totally agree with you, and I want to pick up from there because I want to connect this thought with the thoughts that Himanshu mentioned about like we haven't chosen all the places that we moved. So this happened with me as well. So I was born in São Paulo, and my family decided to move to another place in Brazil, and I had to move because they decided. When I moved abroad, I was targeting Europe. So basically, I wanted to move abroad, and I wanted to move with a work permit. So I was applying for jobs, and Ireland was the job. A company in Ireland was the one that gave me the offer. So I kind of not chose Ireland as well. But I did target Europe. So there was this I kind of chose. And what I want to say by that is a term that I think we talked on a previous episode, which is like this umbrella of luck. So basically you take an umbrella and you move it like instead of like from the top, you move it upside down, and then you can catch a lot of raindrops. And the bigger the umbrella, the more raindrops you're going to catch. So if I haven't applied to any jobs, I wouldn't have been to Ireland. And if I have applied to jobs in North America, I wouldn't have been in Europe. So I kind of have a little bit of freedom to choose if I build the correct mindset, the correct approach to moving. So I want to finish with Otto's thoughts, because I think everybody needs to live an experience, not only to move, but also to experience a big city. And preferably, if you have the option, a city where you have people from several different countries, because then you're going to have different experiences, possibly learn the language, understand other cultures, lose a little bit of racism or other judgments that you have, and just become a better person, more open-minded and etc. My life have changed a lot since I moved here. And there is this professor at NYU called Scott Galloway. Whenever he's giving advice, he's on YouTube if you want to watch. There's this TED talk where he talks about the algebra of happiness, or algebra of life or something, where he recommends people to move to a cosmopolitan city, because in there is where stuff happens. Like in big city is where things are happening. And we are lucky that we all have experienced big cities. So if you live in a small city, I would recommend. And that's my closing thought.
All right, let me pick up with the closing thoughts for today from my side. I agree with what you said, Sheldon. Also interesting with the last point that you brought. Like for me, it's also like personally growing. Every time you change the place, you will personally grow, because you will get out of your comfort zone and you will be forced to do things that you were not forced to do before. So you will definitely get new experiences, meet new people. And also I think it's a great way, as you also told, like to work on stereotypes, because usually you will have so positive experiences with the people, and you will meet people from other places, and then you will say like, hey, this guy from over there, it's so lovely, and their culture, I like it so much, and you will see so many good things. And I think like moving around, it's also a little bit like that with traveling. It's like that with moving. It's like with working abroad, with all these kind of things. It's like about sharing the love in the world and bringing humanity a bit closer. And I think that's what we really need in these days.
Yeah, definitely.
Himanshu.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. And I see that kind of change when I look at my peers who kind of have lived in a similar place. There's a lot of like inbuilt bias and racism in us, which we don't even know of. For example, I heard some friends talking like, hey, someone has applied to our job, to our team from South India, and folks don't speak Hindi in South India. And they were like, should we, like, they were actually considering, like, should we even have someone? Because then we'll have to change language and stuff. And since I went to Japan and I've worked with Japanese people, I know that they also prefer that. But they, like the team that I was part of, they actually agreed that no, we should be more diverse and we should have maybe more international language and like English. And I'm thankful to them. So actually just say, to my friends, like, hey, if you do this to someone, like maybe they'll be thankful to you that you gave them an opportunity to break into this place where folks don't speak their language. So yeah, like I think I forcefully put myself in a lot of uncomfortable position by surrounding myself with people from different cultures, and within like few years I learned a lot about like how people like what's important for people from different countries. And ultimately I still love like my own culture. I still want to live here, but I still feel like I have earned a lot of like knowledge and experiences. So +1 to definitely go, like especially in young age when you're not married and when you're not involved in relationships, definitely go out, because once you have kids, you're gonna have issues moving. So yeah, earlier, but definitely try new cultures. Otto.
That's a good point. I just want to continue, which is basically, while you still have the option to move, I mean, you always have the option, but of course, like while it is easy for you to move, you don't have a house, you don't have a family or other responsibilities. If you stay at the same place for a long time, that's a very high opportunity cost you're paying, because it's not that you're required to move. Nobody forces you. But I think that by going to a place, I think that the biggest selling point that I experienced, for example, was I moved to a country, so Stockholm in this case, Sweden, where, before you move there, how much do you know about a place? You can watch videos, you can talk to people, you can meet people, you can travel there, you can read something, you can watch movies, but it's like 5-10% how it actually is. And when I arrived there, it was so different, but it was so good. So it was like, I couldn't even have come up with like, I want to live in a country that has this, this, and this, because I didn't know that. But by being in a place that I kind of got into, I was just exposed to something new. And this is something you can only get if you make a leap and you just, trust the process and you just like try it out. And also, of course, not everyone has the possibility to just like move like that. But I can say, if there is a chance, if there's an offering that brings you to new people, to new places, I would tend to give it a try. You will not regret it. That's basically my closing thoughts. And maybe for the last words, maybe Himanshu, do you have some takeaways for us?
I just want to say that you said that you need to do a leap, and it just reminded me of the singer Dua Lipa. So when you face a challenge, Dua Lipa.
Thanks for that.
Nothing. Just my remark that moving is possible only for nice people like Otto in lives like me, who's in Sweden and doesn't know much about the country. So definitely be nice to someone who's moved to your place. They'll remember you forever. And that is it for today, folks. Thanks so much for watching us on Coffee Weekly. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe our YouTube channel. And see you next week. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.